So, getting the number one seed is a big deal. We've been talking about it on the show for weeks now. The Bay Area Panthers go down to Tucson and they lock it down with the 24 victory over the Tucson Sugar Skulls, ensuring home field throughout the playoffs for as long as they can go until the big game at the end. Welcome to Bay Area Panthers Weekly. I am Mike Pawlawski once again, former Cal quarterback, former Demons quarterback, and the color commentator for the Bay Area Panthers. This week, they went down to Tucson in the desert, high desert at that, even at that, and got a big win versus the Sugar Skulls, which ensured that number one seed overall for the Panthers and, in turn, knocked the Tucson Sugar Skulls out of the playoffs. We'll be talking about all the playoff scenarios coming up here for the rest of the show, but right now, we're going to talk about that Tucson game with head coach Rob Keefe. And, Coach, welcome to the show. Great win in the desert.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, really excited for the players, excited for the organization. Went down there, took care of business. Obviously, respected Tucson, put in the work to get that number one seed, and glad we came away with victory.
No doubt. And hard to do because you study game film all during the year. You get ready on personnel, but they had some dudes that you hadn't seen before in terms of Tucson. I mean, guys that you had to figure out as the game went along.
Yeah, in fairness, to Tucson, they were pretty banged up, right? End of the season, they kind of limped in there from a personnel standpoint, but sometimes that can mess you up, right? So if you don't know the players, if guys just came on their team and they signed 4 or 5 guys right before the game, 48 hours in advance, you have to start looking players up, figuring out who's who. And we just went out there and played the best game we possibly could. But yeah, sometimes that can mess you up when you got a new guy out there that you haven't studied.
So let's talk about that game a little bit. You start the game off with a kickoff return for a touchdown. And then the first drive for the offense, it's a one-play drive for a touchdown. So talk about the momentum that brings to the team.
Yeah, we wanted to stay hot, right? I mean, that's the thing. We wanted to come out, fast. We switched up our kick return a little bit. I felt like, that's on me at the end of the day, doing the special teams with kick return and kickoff. And we got to get better in those categories. That's just plain and simple. So we worked on that return all week. Really happy with the execution, and it, paid off. We said we were going to get one this week, and, lo and behold, it just happened to be the first one. And then we felt really comfortable with our offense and starting fast. We felt that we really matched up well against Tucson in terms of what they were going to do to us. And yeah, man, I mean, 2 plays, 2 touchdowns. You can't ask for anything better than that. And, Axel Perez, 5 for 5 on his PATs and, knocking down field goals. I mean, he had one heck of a game. So just operationally, we felt that, we were ready to roll that game.
Yeah, I thought if Axel Perez had hit a deuce and a drop kick in that game, he would have been perfect, right? You got to round it out in all the kicking game, but he was fantastic during that game. Early on, it was score for score. You score on the kickoff, they come back and score. You guys score on your first play, they come back and score. But you had them pinned on that second drive for just a minute there, and you get a penalty. What were you thinking at that point? You had them pinned. That could be a big momentum swing, and then you guys allowed them to score on that second drive. What were you thinking as a DC, as a head coach?
Yeah, look, all respect to Tucson, right? But I didn't feel threatened one bit in the game, and that's just honest. I felt that once we started settling down defensively, we were kind of playing out of scheme a little bit, right? We had a 4th down, illegal contact. Could have got a sack, but we had the flag was in the secondary there that aided that next play touchdown. But I felt like we were okay. I felt like our personnel was better. I felt like schematically we were better. I knew it was just a matter of time before we really pulled away. And now that's a feel thing, right? I mean, I didn't feel threatened. I felt like our defensive line were getting home. I mean, we ended up with 3 sacks in the game. I mean, Trey Meadows, what a heck of a game for him in terms of the way that he was getting after the football. And I felt like it was just a matter of time. But again, Tucson started hot, right? 14-14, in that first quarter. And we didn't let up, we only gave up 10 more points for the rest of the game. So I felt like it was just a matter of time before we really started going. So to really answer your question, it was just being patient and being calm. And that's kind of what the message was on the sidelines of the defense.
Yeah, you talked about Trey Meadows, 2 interceptions in the game. I mean, just a big-time game for him. Talk about what he did on that defense and how he came up big for you.
Well, look, I mean, he's leading the league in interceptions, man. I mean, we're leading the league in interceptions as a defensive unit. Really proud about that. It's a stat that I'm really proud about because the guys go after it. And then Trey will be the first one to tell you. I mean, he should probably have 7 more picks on the year. That's how hard he holds himself accountable. And then look, he came to play, man. He had a couple drops the last few games in some of those INT situations, and he comes out, man, and not only does he have 2 interceptions, he actually has one heck of a tackle that forces a fumble that, we're able to get a fumble recovery off it. So just himself alone, he was, the cause of 3 turnovers in that game, man. I really hope that he's the defensive player of the week for the entire league. I mean, he came to play, such a true leader, leads by example every single day. I mean, he's going to be one heck of a DB coach, here shortly when his career is over, but still a long way to go for him. But just really proud of the way that he has prepared. And then look, when you have a case of the dropsies, as we'll say, I mean, I said to him this last week in film, I said, what can I do for you, man? What can I do? How can I help you get back to your interception self? He's like, no, man, it's all me, coach, man. I just got to lock in. And he came to play, man, and lock in he did.
Yeah, he definitely did. I forgot about the forced fumble early in the game, so that was a big one as well. Over the course of the game, you guys had several turning points where you're like, "Ooh, that's a big play. Ooh, that's a big play," as you went down the list, and so I loved it. Well, another dude on defense who really turned it up, Jonathan Ross. I mean, Jay Ross was getting after Jorge Reyna, and it never really let him feel comfortable back there in the pocket.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. And you can tell when it's time to eat. Again, respect to Tucson, but we felt that, we had a better defensive line than their offensive line. And that's just, schematically and personnel wise. I mean, I felt our guys were ready to play. And, look, when blood's in the water, man, you're going to go after it, right? The Sharks are going to eat. And Ross and, Tavon Grant, Billy Martin, EJ Ani. I mean, they came, man. We were causing havoc all night. BJ Talafalele, coming in there. We were touching him all night. He was very aware that we were around him. And then again, that aided the interceptions. That got rid of the ball quick. He was in a lot of tough situations. Now, Reyna's a tough dude, man. He was taking some shots, and but Ross, man, he was eating all night, and really happy that we got home, often and early, really. I mean, we set the tone, that first drive, man. We were touching them, and I knew it was going to be a good night for our defense.
No doubt. And you had a little situational football right before halftime. Now, we talked about this last week, trying to get the situational football right after the Vegas game. You were trying to run out some clock, trying to move the ball without having to kneel down, right? And so your quarterback's trying to get in the middle. And then he gets in a scrum, and dudes are ripping his helmet off. They're throwing punches, which is what always happens in a scrum. And he gets a little hot. And he starts yelling, I'm not sure exactly who, the official, the other guy, like just anybody who will hear it that moment. And you guys get a penalty. What is your coaching point on that? Because I said, I've done that. I know after the fact, Josh is like, oh, yeah, that wasn't smart.
Yeah, Josh wish he had that one back, because here we are. It would have been 4th and 2 from the 2-yard line. We would have been in control of the clock. We would have called a timeout with probably 3 seconds left to go in the half. Either we're going to score or we're not, but we have the opportunity to score last, right? They do not. That's the position that you want to be in. Unfortunately, he gets a personal foul, saying the wrong things to the referee because he felt like there should have been a flag on the guy that was ripping his helmet off. Just too hot in the moment. And for me, I was screaming for somebody to get Josh because I could see the face light up. You could see the intensity, much like, anybody you care about. You could tell they're about to blow. Says the wrong thing at the wrong time. It's just one of those situations. Well, we get backed up 15 yards. So now we're at the 17-yard line. Now it's 4th and 17. And the problem with that is after a penalty, the play clock is only 25 seconds. And because of that, they're now in control. Tucson, they have the right to start the clock on the snap. So we can't even run the clock to get it down to the 3 seconds that we wanted to. So it was just a bad situation for us. So now Axel Perez has to come in. Luckily, he was on all night. He bangs 3 points through. Well, now we got to kick back off. So because of that penalty, we either are going to score a touchdown or we're not, right there on the 2-yard line, but we're in control. Now we have to get backed up. Now we have to kick a field goal. Now they're back in control. So that's the last thing you want to do. The coaching point is we got to keep our composure. We got to understand the situations, that every single play matters, and you can't be arguing with the official like that. And you can't say those magic words, wrong words at the wrong time, and then that's going to get a flag run up on you every time. And then respectfully to the referee, came up to me right before half and said, look, I'm not going to hold that against him. Josh knew at halftime what he shouldn't have done, and I'm not going to jump on him. Like, he knows it. Let's just get back to work, and let's play the football that we know how to play.
Yeah, I saw him after the game. We commiserated. I'm like, yeah, we all do it. Because guys are always taking shots at quarterback. That's what happens. So, but I'll say this for Josh, and I made this analogy during the broadcast. He's a little bit like Rocky. He needs to take a couple shots on the chin, and once he does, now his game elevates. Like, his competitive juices start, and he gets going. And so, he was good early, right through the original early touchdown pass, made the right read, made the right throw. But I think when he takes a shot, when he gets his head in, like when he gets fired up, he becomes a better football player.
Yeah, without a doubt. And what a heck of a game, right? I mean, look, 3 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns. I hope he's, the offensive player of the week. I mean, no turnovers. I mean, that's the kind of player that he is when he's playing at his best. And then you're exactly right. When he gets fired up, he gets fired up. And then everybody's different, right? Joe Fouché, when I get on him, he plays better, right? I mean, everybody has these buttons to push. I could say, Ejani, cool customer, right? Everybody has these different buttons. For me personally, too, I'm the kind of guy, too, like the more fired up I am, the better the coach I am, right? The more fired up I am, the better the player I am. And so some players are the kind of opposite. Hey, they need to have their own space. They, don't get on them because, if they get too fired up, well, then they're going to play out of the scheme, right? They're going to play a little too free. But Josh is that kind of guy, man. When he gets on, he's fired up and he's ready to take some shots. He's going to play a lot better, and he plays with a lot of fire in his belly, man. And that's when you saw it in the second half. He came out there, he was on fire, and what a heck of a second half he did to pull away from the Tucson Sugar Skulls.
Yeah, no doubt, some good throws, but a great run off that left side too. Like he
Yeah.
showed a little 4.5 in his 4.6 there, right? He stepped it up just one extra tenth for a second there.
Yeah, last 2 weeks, man, he's put on the juices, man. He's put on the burst around that edge, man.
Yeah, really good. I said we're going to talk about the playoff scenarios. Talk me through the playoff scenarios right now because you're the number one seed, and the Western Conference is set. So you're going to have Bay Area Panthers, you're going to have the Arizona Rattlers, you're going to have San Diego Strike Force, and you're going to have the Vegas Nighthawks. Now, what does that mean for you 4 games?
So, yeah, right now, obviously one regular season game left, right? We go to Massachusetts. We're going to try some different things, right? Play some different people, but we're still trying to win the football game, right? We're trying to see who can help us in the playoffs. We got to stay healthy, but, more importantly, man, we're still working. I mean, there's still a purpose in this. Long story short, we know we're the number one seed regardless, right? But I want to win the game, want to make that clear. Well, San Diego, Arizona, and Vegas are also in the playoffs, but they don't know what seed they are. So as we as the Bay Area Panthers are number one, anything could happen. Arizona wins against San Diego. They play each other. Arizona gets the number 2 seed. Well, Vegas, who then plays Northern Arizona, if they win Vegas and San Diego loses to Arizona, Vegas is the 3 seed and San Diego now is the 4 seed. If San Diego beats Arizona, San Diego now is the 2 seed and Arizona is the 3 seed. We know that we're not going to play Arizona. We know that Arizona is at least the 2 or the 3. And we are either going to play San Diego at the 4 spot or Vegas at the 4 spot. So a lot can happen. We play on a Friday, so we'll be watching those games on Saturday through the weekend. But we'll be ready for anybody and obviously respect all those teams. I mean, they're deserving of being in the playoffs. I think it's the best 4 teams on the Western Conference, and we just got to be ready for anybody when it happens.
Vegas just 2 weeks ago gave you everything they had in a game. Arizona, you guys split with Arizona, and then San Diego, you got the first 2, but they got the last one. So there's all kinds of interesting scenarios going on in this playoff.
Yeah, man. And again, it's such a respect factor, right? I mean, and every team will tell you, hey, man, it's just about getting in. I don't think any team is lacking professionalism. I don't think any team is lacking great personnel. I don't think any team is lacking any heart or desire. I'm really happy to have these games at home for the ownership, for the fan base, for the financials, really. You want to help grow this thing. I really want the organization to have the ability to pack more people in the SAP Center. So we're going to pack this thing out. I'm really excited the way the marketing is going. I mean, it's really ramping up, which is awesome. But make no mistake about it. The other team that comes in here is not going to be scared that they're playing in the Bay Area Panthers SAP Center. So we have to respect that, man. We just got to come with our A game, and we just have to play our best football because that's what it takes to be champions.
You said you might see some different personnel in that Massachusetts game. Some coaches, they like to give their guys rest going in. Other coaches want to give them enough reps to keep them from getting rusty. Other guys will play them full go, just saying, we're going to go. Where do you fall on that spectrum?
Great question, man. A little bit of both, right? And so if you need rest, we're going to rest you. And if you need to stay, engaged, we're going to keep you engaged. And if you need reps, we're going to get you reps. And so there's a fine balance of that. But also, too, there's only 25 active players, right? Or 25 guys that have the ability to be active for the 21. So this isn't like a 53-man roster where we have the ability start pulling people off and we have all kind of backups. I mean, we only have so many backups. So I think it's going to be a good balance of, hey, man, this guy needs rest. Let's sit him. This guy will play maybe a series or 2, and then his quote unquote backup will get the rest of the game. And we want to really see people too. There's a couple guys, there's about 4 or 5 guys. I really want to see them in action. I want to see what they can do. I want to get them those game reps live because Massachusetts is a good team now. They've only given up 2 sacks. They're one of the best defenses in the league. They're top 3 in a lot of categories. I mean, they have some really, really good personnel. They get after the quarterback. I mean, they're leading the league in sacks. It's just going to be one of those games where we have to respect the fact that we're coming from the West Coast all the way to the East. Fortunately enough for us, we have great ownership that is allowing us to travel a day in advance. But we got to see what some guys can do, and I want to get them battle tested for the playoffs. So if we do have to call upon them, they're going to be ready, and we know what they can do.
Well, I look forward to that game. I look forward to the road trip back there. You know, a lot of historic stuff back there on the East Coast. So always fun to go back there and see it. We'll have that game call right here on KMBR 1050, 4:05 Pacific time, Friday, July 25th. Kevin Richardson and myself on the call. Pre-game will start at 3:50. So, Coach Keefe, I appreciate you coming on. Don't go away. We'll be right back. We'll be talking to Jaime Navarro about offensive line play, and then we'll be talking to BJ Taufalele about that defensive side of the ball when we get back.